I think the main message to me is if you want to support entrepreneurship in any country through any program, through any organization, the number one focus has to be on quality of the entrepreneur and not on quantity. The moment that you focus on quantity, you don't filter out the entrepreneurs that are participating. It's a lot harder to convince a mentor or to convince an investor to put money into an unfiltered anything. By filtering, by having a focus on the best of the best entrepreneurs, you get the initial interest of the mentors, of the investors, of media, of universities. They want to work with the best. And that's how you get it started, I think, when others then get inspired and so on. So I think that would be lesson one. Lesson two is, I think every major change is bottom up and not top down. And we have an example that actually, IFC, World Bank, a lot of organizations, and ourselves are promoters of labor reform to make it fair, easy to find a job. No? In Mexico, if you get fired, I'm a Mexican, I know this. If you work for an organization, let's say 9 years, and you get fired, unions have made it possible for you to get paid a year of salary of severance. Think of the entrepreneur then starting a company, hiring someone, losing the client, and then having no money to pay the payroll. Imagine the amount of severance that you have to pay. So if we wanted to make labor reform more efficient, we would have to fight the unions for their amazing rights on severance payment. That is never going to happen, or it's not going to happen in 200 years, right? So top-down approaches saying, let's change the labor law, will never actually happen. It's bottom-up means entrepreneurs adapt to that. And they find ways to overcome the difficulties. So I think that understanding that individuals at the grassroots can have a huge impact is important, because most people don't believe that a single individual can have a change. No?
From GAO, United States General Accounting Office, Office of the Comptroller General. Human Capital, a self-assessment checklist for agency leaders. What is human capital? Simply stated, human capital means people. There are, however, two key principles that are central to the human capital idea. First, people are assets whose value can be enhanced through investment. As with any investment, the goal is to maximize value while managing risk. As the value of people increases, so does the performance capacity of the organization, and therefore its value to clients and other stakeholders. From ACC.com, Association of Corporate Counsel. The Association of Corporate Counsel, or ACC, is a global bar association that promotes the common professional and business interests of in-house counsel who work for corporations, associations, and other private sector organizations through information, education, networking opportunities, and advocacy initiatives. From co.dodge.wi.us, Dodge County, Wisconsin Corporate Counsel. Purpose of the Corporation Counsel. The Dodge County Corporation Counsel is the attorney who provides legal advice to the county board, its committees, and county departments, drafts and reviews ordinances and resolutions for county board action, advises the county board with respect to parliamentary procedures, attends county committee meetings and other county-related meetings, and reviews contracts in which the county is a party. The Dodge County Corporation Counsel prosecutes mental commitment cases, guardianship, protective placement services cases, children in need of protection or services or CHIPS cases, juveniles in need of protection or services or JIPS cases, termination of parental rights or TPR cases, shoreland, wetland, floodplain, and sanitary code violations, and citations issued by the Dodge County Sheriff's Department which allege violation of a county ordinance, except for those citations which allege a violation of a county ordinance which has adopted Section 346.631A or Section 346.631B of the Wisconsin statutes. The Dodge County Corporation Counsel Office is a central location site for the Dodge County Collection Program involving delinquent guardian ad litem fees, custody study fees, mediation fees, court-appointed legal counsel fees, attorney service fees, and monies due to all county departments that require legal proceedings to collect on outstanding accounts due to Dodge County. The Dodge County Corporation Counsel serves as the attorney for the East Wisconsin Counties Railroad Consortium and performs the duties of recording secretary for the consortium pursuant to Section 59.58 and Section 63.0301 of the Wisconsin statutes. The Dodge County Corporation Counsel Office represents only Dodge County government and may not render a legal opinion or provide advice to individuals. So let's go back to Association of Corporate Counsel again. The Association of Corporate Counsel, or ACC, is a global bar association that promotes the common, professional, and business interests of in-house counsel who work for corporations, associations, and other private sector organizations through information, education, networking opportunities, and advocacy initiatives. What is human capital? Simply stated, human capital means people. From Building Criminal Capital Behind Bars, Social Learning in Juvenile Corrections by Patrick Baer, Randy Pintoff, and David E. Posen. This paper analyzes the influence that juvenile offenders serving time in the same correctional facility have on each other's subsequent criminal behavior, or capital returns. The analysis is based on data of over 8,000 individuals serving time in 169 juvenile corrections facilities during a 2-year period in Florida. Quote, Danbury wasn't a prison, it was a crime school. I went in with a Bachelor of Marijuana and came out with a doctorate of cocaine. From George Jung, Johnny Depp, describing his introduction to the cocaine industry in the motion picture Blow. Introduction. Juvenile crime is a serious problem in modern American society. In 2000, law enforcement agencies throughout the United States made approximately 2.4 million arrests of juveniles under the age of 18, or approximately 1 arrest for every 10 individuals between the ages of 13 and 18. More than 500,000 of these arrests were for property crimes, more than 200,000 were for drug-related violations, and almost 100,000 were for violent crimes. On any given day in 1999, over 100,000 juvenile offenders were being held in residential placement. Part 5. Policy Considerations. Given the strong and robust evidence of reinforcing peer effects in correctional facilities, 2 policy-related issues merit further examination: the optimal assignment of individuals to facilities and how peer quality is distributed across individuals and facilities. With regards to optimal assignment, our results point to 2 broad conclusions. First, because the social interactions estimated in juvenile correction facilities flow more readily from older to younger individuals, assignment policies that aim to reduce the exposure of young individuals to their older peers may substantially diminish the transfers of crime-related human capital from one cohort to the next. And they're not practicing this, are they? Which brings us back to the GAO Human Capital, a self-assessment checklist for agency leaders. Strategic planning. Establish the agency's mission, vision for the future, core values, goals, and objectives and strategies. High-performance organizations begin by defining what they want to accomplish and what kind of organization they want to be. They define a shared vision, i.e. a mission, a vision for the future, core values, goals and objectives and strategies, and communicate that shared vision clearly, constantly, and consistently. From NIJ.gov, the National Institute of Justice. Practical implications of current domestic violence research for law enforcement, prosecutors, and judges. Chapter 3, Offender Characteristics. What is their gender? Although some sociological research based on self-reporting finds equal rates of male and female partner conflict, including mostly minor physical assaults, behavior that is likely to violate most state and federal criminal and civil protective order statutes, is typically perpetrated by males. Okay, that statement alone is contradictory. And the reason for this is these are their directives. Implications for law enforcement. If the ratio of male to female suspects and victims differs substantially from those found above, departments should be alert to potential gender bias. They're saying if you're arresting too many females because you've evidence that they're abusing males, you're probably biased and you need to redesign your process or redesign the mindset that you have in order to criminalize males, because males hold a higher human capital value than females, and the average citizen will not accept the truth about females being the main perpetrator of abuse. So by law, we're going to play this game and increase the human capital and capital returns to the corporation. As an example, from UNODC.org, or the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. UNODC report on human trafficking exposes modern form of slavery. February 12, 2009, a global report on trafficking in persons. According to the report, the most common form of human trafficking, 79%, is sexual exploitation. The victims of sexual exploitation are predominantly women and girls. Surprisingly, in 30% of the countries which provided information on the gender of traffickers, women make up the largest proportion of traffickers. In some parts of the world, women trafficking is the norm. Now, they only polled 30% of the countries and asked the gender of the perpetrator. That's what that says. And in 69% of the reports, females were the main perpetrator of child and female sex trafficking.